right, we are live. Y'all, you can always tell when it's about to be real good because the devil always trying to come in like a flood, but we always got to lift up a standard. And I'm putting in my earphones right now, and Pam is over there getting ready. So I'm going to go on to social media right now. I'm going to give you guys time to come on in here. Let me see. Let them know that we are live.
All right.
We are live. Let me give them the. I must admit, and people are coming in right now. This webinar has been completely amazing.
Really?
Every speaker has been absolutely amazing. I don't know if you were on here last night, but Darlene Brown just kind of like tore it out the frame, and we didn't have Tish Bell, and we didn't have Trevor. I mean, every one of the speakers have been completely amazing. The first night we had Pastor Keisha Thompson. Just wasn't holding them up. Just was giving us the word. The next night was Trevor Otts. Of course, he's amazing. He's a marketing guru. And then Gene brought it, honey, with the Fierce Factor. I mean,
Gene.
Absolutely. Gene brought it. And then we had the most beautiful Tani, axtani.com, so we can get our credit up to par. Yes. And then Dr. Joe Shepherd. Oh my God. I hate that you missed that. And then Tish Bell, when Tish speaks, Tish Bell came on and tore it up. And then Dr. Oliver Reed, absolutely amazing man of God. And then we had Savannah Speaks More. I mean, that was an awesome testimony. And then on this Monday, we had Nakikia, Keep It Moving. She came in and told her testimony, and it was absolutely amazing how transparent she was. And it was just wonderful. And then on last night, Darlene Brown tore it out the frame. Just tore it out the frame. Just had everything leading up to you on this day. And I'm sad to say that on this Thursday, Reginald has pneumonia. He's been under the weather. He's been sick. So I think we're gonna switch up Minister Ashley Smith with Reginald and let him take her day for next Tuesday, and she take his day this Thursday.
Right.
So, and let him get well. But tonight, without further ado, we have the amazing, most wonderful PR. I love her, you guys. I love her. I've been knowing her for probably now for about 4 or 5 years, about 4 years.
4 or 5
and she has been just a wonderful, wonderful person in my life, and I appreciate her and all the things that she has spoken into my life and has brought into my life. So I thank God for her. So please get your piece of paper or your notebook. You see, I got my handy dandy notebook and I have my pen. Make sure you take good notes because this is going to be good for your business. And she's going to speak life to us tonight. So I'm about to get a stage to her, and she's about to just talk to us and teach us. And I'm ready.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm doing this on my phone, which I'm not used to. I was anticipating using my handy dandy laptop, but it didn't work out. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to talk to you about what is a brand. We use that term so liberally now. Oh, my brand this, my brand that, my this, my that. And everybody has a really different definition for some of these terms that we're using now and stuff in the marketing communications community, I should say. So what really what is a brand? And I have this big old large easel type paper. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it, Tish? I'm gonna try my best because I couldn't put it on an easel. Can you see it?
No, well, we can see it, but we can just see the word what.
Oh, just the word what? Oh, shoot. Okay, well, what it says is, what is a brand? What is a brand? It's our image, it's our reputation, it's our product, it's the color we're associated with our business or whatever it is that we wear. It's our slogan, it's our logo, it's our quality of work or the quality person that we are and our character. It's all of those things. Your brand isn't just one thing. There are many things that makes up your brand. Many things. And I'm going to use the lovely Letitia Nicole and talk about her brand. Okay? So people have been using the term speak life. It is nothing new. However, but for those of us in the know with our girl Letitia, we know that the slogan, I am Letitia Nicole and I speak life, is something that she's going to say at the end of every time she does a speaking engagement. Every time she brings a rhema word that she gives, she's going to use that slogan that makes it her brand uniquely. We know that we're likely to see the color hot pink whenever we see Letitia Nicole. We know that. We're going to see that a whole lot, right? We know that that is very much an identity part of her brand. We know that if we go to any event of hers that is a bit dressy, she's going to be wearing some pearls. We know that, right? I can see Tanny smiling and saying, that's right, that's right. We know that she is going to pray, speak a rhema word, and glorify God. We know that whether it's a dressy event, a dress down event, whether she's collected a lot of food for people at Thanksgiving time for her Thanksgiving Feed of Thousands organization, her event, her signature event, you know that she's going to give glory and honor to God. That is part of her brand. And we know that she is unapologetically Christian. That too is part of her brand. So all of those things, the color she wears, the type of clothing she wears, the type of jewelry she wears, what she speaks, all of those things are uniquely part of her brand. And we're going to talk about some things, and I have all this stuff written down on this. If I were using my computer, guys, you could see this a lot, actually see it better. So I did this presentation at a conference in Virginia Beach, and it was more like a teaching, like a teacher teaching a class. So you bear with me. Can you see it, Tish, or no?
I see 10 tips.
Okay, it says 10 tips on how not to build your brand. 10 tips on how not to build your brand. Number 1, do not be fake. Okay, please do not be fake. You can only be authentically you, period. End of discussion. You can only be who you are. You do not need to try to imitate anybody else. They are already taken. Be you. Don't be wishy-washy. And wishy-washy is just a cute word for don't be double-minded. Have you seen people on social media in particular, obviously, where they change their mind from one week to the next as to who they are? Okay, then your brand, which is you, will begin to be known as being fickle. You don't know who you are. You don't know how to identify yourself. If you're one day this person, the next day something else, you can't do it. It's not going to work. Don't act before thinking. And that seems pretty obvious, but when you look at how many times people get in trouble on social media with what they say inappropriately, or they haven't thought it through before they hit send, or even after they delete the comments or whatever. So what you deleted is somebody's already got a screenshot of what it is that you've put out there. So you have to think before just submitting stuff. And I say this is particularly true of some of you who are using um, interns. I have nothing against interns, but you got to make sure that whoever is doing your social media, if you're not doing it yourself, or even if you are doing it yourself, you have to make sure that they are appropriate, that they're not using inappropriate language, that they are not misspelling a lot of words, that they are not getting historical facts incorrect and things like that when they are posting on your behalf. All of that goes against your brand. You have to think before you hit send. You have to act before you do. You have to think before you act. Number 4, don't go for quantity, go for quality. Okay? There are people who, you know, they don't always organically grow their social media followers. In Twitter, I don't know if this is true on Facebook, but in Twitter, there are some listservs that swear that you can buy these lists, excuse me, and really grow your following and what have you. But some of these people or whomever, you don't want sometimes you really don't want everybody to follow you. I had to learn, and I'm sure some of you've had to learn, and growing your Facebook following and what have you, you have to really check out sometimes some of these people, because some of them are just on there to, wreak havoc on your timeline with pornography or other things like that. And then some people are doing fake accounts just to creep on you to find out more about what you're about. So really go for quality people that you're going to interact with, because it's important for you to interact authentically with other people that you're connected to in social media. It's called social for a reason. There are a lot of people who have automated responses, and they've timed things to be released and what have you on social media. I'm not against that, but make sure that you follow up with something more personable to people, because it is social media. And if your brand is anything about being um what do you call it, customer, has a high customer service type of thing or whatever component, is very important to show that type of response and respect to others. Avoid the quest for fame. I'm gonna repeat that one, number 5, again. Avoid the quest for fame. I have known people who have gotten to be very, very big over the 25 plus years that I've been doing marketing communications work. And they are making money and they're on top of the world, and they'll promise all these things and they don't follow through with them and what have you. And you really want to be careful with what it is that you say you're going to do, that you do, particularly as you rise and grow further in your careers and you get a lot of notoriety. Okay? So, fame isn't always what it cracks up to be. Trust me, I've seen it. It can be a wonderful thing and it can be a double-edged sword. So, be really in love with what it is that you're doing, so that if the fame and stuff comes, which it likely will, that you'll be prepared for it. Okay? Don't burn yourself out, because this thing, you're in a marathon, not in a sprint, when you are striving to build your brand. Say you're working really hard towards becoming a speaker. You want to speak internationally or whatever. You're really trying to expand your platform. Well, you have to remember to rest. And that sounds just so, mediocre or whatever. Well, of course I know I need to rest, but you'd be surprised. you know, sometimes the high of getting more contracts and more engagements and things like that has you, it makes you become a person like on a treadmill. So you have to pace yourself. Nobody becomes an instant success overnight. It may appear to be that way, but usually that instant success took 10 or 15 years. So let's just keep it real. Okay? Number Number 7, don't forget real world relationships. As you're building your brand, you cannot just be looking in a device 24/7 and not really paying attention to your real world relationships. Even though the majority of clients that I meet, I've met through the internet via social media, you've got to meet, you've got to talk, you've got to have that face-to-face communication, or if they're long distance, you do FaceTime, you do whatever it is so that you can personally connect. Okay, nothing beats the personal touch and connection, nothing at all right. Okay, number 8, don't go it alone. You have to, as you're building your brand and what have you, you need to have some trusted advisors, people that you can go to, that you can get feedback, honest feedback. It's also important to even do surveys. There are inexpensive surveys that you can do that are free or close to free with Survey Monkey. That's one of my favorite ones, to find out how you're connecting with your audience and what have you. That's very important. Number 9, your brand, don't make it all about you. Because if you're trying to touch and impact people, or even, I don't know, even if you're a person that's selling cars and you got a car dealership, it still isn't all about you. Try to learn to give back. Do something else for somebody else, or whatever. That also helps build your brand, because then you'll be known as a person who gives back, or a philanthropist, or whatever. So we want to make ourselves multi-dimensional entrepreneurs or brand builders. And number 10, as you're building your brand, don't forget to measure. Don't forget to measure your impact or results. One of the things that I do, I have begun using Facebook ads, and I've used it for a client, and one client in particular, because I noticed that every time on my business page I would post something about her, a certain type of photograph about her, I would get a huge number of hits. And I thought, well, geez, this would be interesting to see what would happen with if I decided to do some Facebook ads with her photographs and commentary. And the results were very, very good. Very, very good. And what I liked about it too was that Facebook will break down all the information: male, female, age, country, um, all kinds of good stuff, all great demographic information. And so as you're building a brand with her, we're building a lifestyle brand. It's very important to measure, and it's important to measure with anybody. It's important to measure what the net results are of what you're doing. Okay, does that make sense? That makes sense, Tish?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you have any comments or questions or anything at this point?
Not at this time. I'm gonna go to social media. I'm actually on Purpose Professionals right now, and I'm. It's not letting me post right now. I think something is going on with Facebook, but people know they can inbox me or they can text me directly if you have any questions. But as far as the thing, what is a brand, and letting people know it's the image, the product, the slogan, the logan, the quality of work, and the 10 tips that you gave us. And I love the first one was do not be fake. I mean, that was absolutely amazing in itself. Don't be fake. You can't even build your tribe if you be fake, because you building, you know, a tribe on a fake person, and people can identify with. So and then when you said don't go for quantity, go for quality, I think
Right.
that was pretty good as well.
Right.
And avoid the quest for fame.
Right.
I don't think people understand that even what I do is being a servant.
Mm-hmm.
Being a servant is being a servant for the community, a servant for the people.
Right.
Duplicating yourself over and over and over again.
Right.
Leaders don't make followers. Leaders make other leaders.
Right.
So I just think that was good in itself. So
Right.
at this time, no, we don't have any questions.
Okay. Yeah, that thing about being authentic, because I know when I had up my first website, I had it up for many years, and I'm now almost finished with my new one. But I had on the end of it that this was a faith-based enterprise. And I noticed that there were some other publicists coming around with putting, I'm a faith-based enterprise. And I thought it was funny because I was a faith-based enterprise because I truly was walking on faith with these 3 kids and all of that, you know.
You have a
So,
question.
oh,
You
okay.
have a question.
Oh,
Um, the Danica Booth is asking. People always say fake it until you make it, and she
yeah.
said, what is your opinion on that? I know I like to say faith it until you make it, but she
Uh-huh.
said, what is your opinion,
Hmm.
Pamela, on people that say fake it till you make it?
Well, you know what? I understand. I think that most people, when they say that, fake it till you make it, they mean, now this is how I interpret it from my point of view. To me it means that I'm going to walk in my God confidence and in faith, and know my stuff, and do the very best that I can do, and try to look like $1,000,000 while I'm while I'm doing it, even if I don't have it. I'm going to look the part. I'm going to present myself as best as I can, and my company as best as I can, because I am my brand. And that's what I mean by it. Now, if she's referring to, because I said don't be fake is don't try to be what you're not. Just don't try to be what you're not. I like I said, people were copying little things from me, like, oh, I'm a faith based enterprise. But when I write that on anything about me, about what my business is about, faith based, it's because I had nothing. I was stripped of a whole lot. I went from having a lot to having not a whole lot, and being very scared and thinking I couldn't make it. So everything I was trusting on the Lord, and I still am. So I still say it's a faith-based enterprise. But being fake is, Letitia, a lot of people see you and you're beautiful and you have a beautiful family and all of that. And soon you'll see people trying to dress like you. They're trying to emulate you. Well, imitation is the highest form of flattery. But if you're not used to walking in 3-inch heels, don't just try to go get 3-inch heels because you see Letitia Nicole in 3-inch heels. Okay? Be you, boo. Wear your flats and walk in it. Okay?
Lord have mercy.
Oh, I hope I answered her question.
I think you did. That was pretty good there. Do
Okay.
you, boo?
Do
Do
you,
you, boo?
do you, and don't be ashamed of that. Be who you are, because God made us perfect. That we
Mhm.
all, in all of our imperfections and talents and lack of talents or whatever, we're all good. We're all good. And we need to give thanks and praise for that. Be thankful for what he has given you, and use it to the most of your ability. Period.
Mhm.
Period.
That was good.
Okay. Are we good? Because I'm gonna go on.
Okay, I'm looking right now. Any more questions? No, it looked like we're good.
Okay. So now I'm gonna talk about public relations. a little bit about public relations, and just it kind of be, it's a little academic, but that's what we're going to talk about. What is PR? What is public relations? One of the premier organizations of, and I was just on a Twitter chat with them. I am, a little background about myself. I am the member related task force chair of the National Association of Black Journalists. And with that is member related, that means those of us that are in the media, I mean, it's media related, I'm sorry, media related industries such as public relations and um, internal, external communications, crisis communications, all that kind of stuff within the National Association of Black Journalists. And we just had a Twitter chat with the Public Relations Society of America. And that is um, the organization for public relations professionals. There is also a National Black Public Relations Society as well. But PRSA, their definition of public relations is PR is a strategic communications process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their public. And why is I'm explaining this PR thing to you guys because there is a difference between traditional PR work and advertising. Okay, even though now, particularly with social media, because everybody is on it and they can promote and do different things with it, it has leveled the playing field somewhat. So in PR, you're not placing advertisements, paid advertisements in newspapers, magazines, radio, TV, or anything like that. What you're doing is it's more of a process of pitching. It's a real big sales game, and a lot depends on timing. And sometimes, even when you think you've got something one way, you may have to reverse your strategy on for your client for any number of reasons. For any number of reasons, and I can give you some more in detail. Okay, there are many types of PR, and one of those that most Black folks relate to is entertainment PR, but there are many, many different types of PR, and they're all management functions within an organization. There's internal PR. That means internal literally means what it is. If you're working at Blue Cross and Blue Shield, there is somebody that organizes all of the communications information that you receive within your organization. External is just the opposite. Everything that goes out to the community outside from that company that's a whole nother function, management function. Crisis communications, think of Olivia Pope. Okay, I've met the real Olivia Pope, Judy Smith, several times. Beautiful woman. She's brilliant. She's also an attorney. A lot of people in crisis communications, they got to know a lot about the law often because they're in trouble. And sometimes, if that communications professional isn't a lawyer, they've got one on speed dial to help their client, if that is what their problem is. Sometimes it's just that they've put their foot in their mouths and there's some other issues going on. Okay, and there's public policy and public affairs, and that's all under the umbrella of government. Okay, community relations, that is really important. You see a lot of that type of work even within a major corporation. They'll have all of these layers, and everybody are all communications professionals, but they're all targeting specific groups of people, specific groups. So in community relations, they're really people that are smoothing out the relations for the community. They're the ones that are donating. Let's see, let's get an example. Remember the man in the news recently that was a handicapped gentleman and somebody stole his handicapped car? And it got reported on the news, and everybody rallied to his aid to raise money to get a new car and all that type of thing. Well, that car company that got involved, that was a community relations type of effort. Okay. And then last but not least, this is the ultimate buzzword, particularly now in the age of social media. It's called integrated marketing communications. That's when everything is tied in together to benefit the client or benefit the brand, if you will. That means integrated marketing communications is just like it sounds. You're using public relations, you're using advertising, you're using marketing, um, you're using reputation management, you're using everything for that brand or product. Okay. So that's what that is. And I wanted to define this a little bit for people because I think that a lot of people, a lot of us, don't really fully understand all of this stuff. So I was just trying to do a little primer for y'all. How's that? Tish, you have any questions or any comments or anything?
I'm just telling you, I'm getting texts. Pam, you just know your stuff. I'm just telling. We just over here like, good gracious,
You're
Lord.
so crazy.
We thank God that you are in your profession. That you have mastered PR and knows what each client need at different given time. I thank God for you. So, and I urge for those of you that are listening, that have businesses and you're speaking and to contact Pam, hire Pam. I don't know what I would do without her. Okay, I don't know what I would do without her. And she's absolutely amazing. And as you hear, she knows her craft, she knows her work, and she knows her worth. And so I'm just telling you, she's amazing. I'm about to sit back and keep taking notes because I'm glad you just allowed me to speak life. That's all I Pam, do what you do, honey. I ain't got time. Honey. I don't
Does
know
anybody have any questions, or are they watching the basketball game? Is the game
no,
on?
Oh, here's one question from Tamika with no excuse zone. She said, "How do you know what each client needs?"
And that's what we're just about to get on. A special thing that I'm doing for people. And you know what? How do I know? I know who Tamika is. Hi, sweetheart, with them babies.
Yes.
You know what? What it is that for each client, and I have to say this. I told you I'm a faith-based enterprise. So I do believe in prayer because there are some things that you just can't figure out sometimes. And I ask God for the best ideas. I ask him to give me wisdom. I ask him to give me favor, to help me in developing things for clients, to know the best things. If I've messed up, let me correct it. Because a lot of things within this business is timing. I cannot tell you guys what timing is. And I'm praying right now that the Lord sends me a really awesome intern that can write. That's what I'm in great need of. But anyways, Tamika, getting back more to your question, that was part of it. Prayer is one big thing, how you know what to do for each client. Because, and Tamika, let me tell you a little bit about me. So many I've done so much work in so many different industries. I've worked in automotive. I've worked in healthcare, which was most fascinating. Um, I've worked in the publishing industry. I cut my teeth in radio. I was an account executive in radio. I I've worked for Alfa Romeo uh, Motor Company, Chrysler, Detroit Symphony Orchestra, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I've done First State Bank. I worked for a black owned bank for several years, good 8 years, doing their marketing communications work. I've had the benefit, and I've done literary stuff. I worked for J.L. King, a New York Times bestselling author. I've done the branding for Nikki Turner, Queen of Hip Hop Fiction. I've done so many things that I've been blessed to have experienced a wide variety of industries, and some are I like better than others. I have to say, I love banking. Is kind of boring, but bankers always pay you on time, so I enjoy working for the bank for 8 years. But what I'll say is that you really, I'm a person that likes to read and study and research and stuff. And, you just, all marketing and stuff is pretty much the same thing. It's just the audiences are different. The audiences are different. That's the main thing. Okay. All right. Um, the thing that I do when I'm working with a client, and I call it now, what's your hook? And I try to get from Tish, are you still there?
I'm right here.
Okay. What I try to do with that, what's your hook, is ask clients, what is it that you think about your brand or service or whatever that makes you unique? What is the hook that you could use to draw people in? And what is the hook that you think that a reporter would even be interested in learning more about you? What is it? What is it that sets you apart? And what's fascinating about that is that most people really can't answer that question well. I have I've tested it out on people, and I have found that it's something that they're not very comfortable with for the most part. And then I ask them, after what's your hook, I say, well, what bait will you use? What is it that you think that you can do to draw people into you? Just like, you got to put what kind of worm are you going to put on the fishing hook to draw them in? Okay? For lack of a better description or whatever. And so we kind of, I have a questionnaire, Tamika. I ask those key questions, and we really talk and break things down and figure out, well, what is it that you want? That's the other thing. You need to also know what your end game is going to be for whatever it is that you're trying to promote. Okay? So Tish, our girl here, Letitia Nicole, she might say, well, you know what, Pam, I see myself being a world-renowned speaker and author, and I travel the globe doing that with my family, and be very independent in my lifestyle and what have you. She didn't tell me that. I'm just saying that. Tish, you could say whatever yours is, and then you have to think about what steps you're going to take to get there. One of the things that Letitia does so well with her brand is that she is consistent, and it's all tied together. All the things that she does are all tied together. They make sense. I have seen you can have multiple brands, but it takes a very disciplined and organized person to do them all well. And then, even when it comes time to talking about them, promoting them intelligently where people can keep up, you have to be very careful that you don't confuse people, that you're not up one day, down the next day, sideways the other day, and a triangle the other day. You have to be consistent. Some people are consistently inconsistent, and they are bound to have their brands to fail. And they can be very talented people. I'm a witness. I've worked with some. And no matter how much talent they have, if you're all over the place and scattered, it doesn't work. Because you get suspicious of people that's a little scattered, don't you, Tish?
Absolutely.
You cannot figure them out. And if you can't figure somebody out pretty quickly, then that confusion leads to distrust, which is equally as bad for your brand, you see. That is just so important. And I promise you, it doesn't matter how talented you are. I promise you. Let me tell you, I know some super talented people. They can do anything and everything, but they're just a mess.
Mm.
You can't, you know, our God is a God of order,
Yes, he is.
and He is not a God of confusion. So we have to, in creating our brands, creating our products, creating our services, we have to do things decent and what?
In
In
order.
order. Okay?
We have
That's
a question here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we have Erica Hicks. So how do you figure out your hook?
Ah. We had a lot of fun with this in Virginia Beach last April, and I kind of threw that out to people. Excuse me. I had them tell me what their business was and describe it to me a little bit. And then I said, "So what do you think your hook is? How do you think that you would get attention from some organization, some media organization, or whatever?" And they would proceed to tell me their answers. And most often, I would tell them, "Nope, that's not it. It's this." And I believe that God has given me a unique gift. And I don't know where it came from, so I know it's from Him. That I can pretty much size up, excuse me, fairly quickly what makes sense about people's businesses. I don't know where it comes from, but I don't have to have I have to have some details, but I can quickly tell you pretty much what your hook may be. I hope that answers your question.
I would. It wouldn't it be your passion? I mean, like for some people, wouldn't the hook be connected to their passion? Because if you would have asked me, if you would say, Letitia Nicole, what is your hook? And I would have went straight to tell you that um, that I believe my hook is to help women and girls conquer their fears so they can live a life of abundance and be who God called them to be. And how do you do that, Letitia Nicole? Well,
Mm-hmm.
by faith, using the principles of God, I use a faith based message where I either speak or I have events or coaching, group coaching or one-on-one. I teach them how to use the word of God to build their life and build their faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I would have said. And so when I think of a hook, I also can think of what is your purpose and your mission.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what hook meant to me when you said that, because
Mm-hmm.
immediately I'm like, well, okay, that's what my hook is. I teach women and girls how to conquer their fears so they can live a life of abundance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And and
Mm-hmm.
and and so would that be what a hook is?
Yeah, and then it can be something else too. It could be, say, if somebody has a bakery, so they've got to figure out what their hook is going to be. See, it's going to be something uniquely different for everybody, because the thing that's cool about you, Letitia, is that um you have you are very laser sharp and defined now. I bet you couldn't say that you were always that way, but you are now. Excuse me. You are very, you can't see me?
No, ma'am. Well, there we go.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. There's something holding this phone up, child.
Mhm.
Versus the having the computer just sit there. But yeah, I think that because you have a laser sharp focus on what you're doing and you've been doing it for a while, I think doing the what's your hook thing is really for those people that are just not quite sure, or they're forming it. Because sometimes, when you start an enterprise, you think you're going to be serving one type of people or whatever, and then you find out after you've done it for a little while, well, you know what? I have to tweak things a little bit. And
Mhm.
I think, excuse me, as entrepreneurs and whatnot, We should not be afraid to realize if this isn't going well, then I need to draw back and tweak my message. That's why it's so important to measure what it is you're doing in social media and otherwise. And it's not the easiest thing in the world always, but sometimes with coaching from someone or consultation, and I'm not saying spend a ton of money doing it or anything, but it pays to measure results because it helps you to clearly see who it is you're reaching.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you're reaching your targets, if you've made targeted goals of who it is you're trying to reach, and you find out that excuse me, instead of reaching 95% of women, you're reaching 98% men, then we're what's up? What's going on? We maybe we need to relook at things again or whatever. But I'm
Right.
just saying you that's why you can get sharper and more focused when you know what your results are. Does it make sense? Am I making
That's
sense?
good, absolutely. Because when I first started, Pam, you could have asked me, "Well, what do you do?" And I used to say, "Well, I speak life."
Uh-huh.
Said, well, what's that? And quickly, I say, well, you have the power of life and death in your tongue, and those that love it will eat its fruit. And you're like,
Uh,
okay, but what's that? I speak
right.
life. Well, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. You know what I mean? you know, and that's when I first, I just knew that I spoke life to me, you
Uh-huh.
know. And so I couldn't. The only thing I could tell them was what I did for myself. Well, now I'm able to duplicate myself over
Mm-hmm.
and over and over again. Like I said
Mm-hmm.
before, that leaders don't create followers; they create other leaders. So I duplicate myself over and over and over again with my clients. So now I truly understand what speaking life is all
Mm-hmm.
about, or Speak Life Enterprise is all about. It is no
Mm-hmm.
longer just my testimony.
Right, right. Understand. Very good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And the more and even and I'm sure even another couple of years from now, your focus is going to get even sharper. You know why? Because as you ascend, you are going to get into different markets of women. Okay, they're going to be different groups of women, they're going to be different types of women, and even with those groups, iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
You'll be in a whole nother level, you see. So then your hook and the bait that you use may be very different for that group of women because it's a whole different demographic.
Ah, that looks at like Danica just asked you a question. She said, so your brand can grow and change. So
Oh,
the
absolutely. Oh my
Mhm.
God. Yes. And you know what? I wish I could. Dang, I can't think right on the top of my head of a brand that's done that. I'll tell you this though, it's a brand that we all know, and a lot of people love it and are addicted to it, except for me. I'm not. We get in our fancy car.
Mhm.
We Let me say this: we are bombarded by at least 3,500 brand messages every single day.
Mhm.
At least 3,500. Okay. So when you get into your CTS Cadillac, I don't have a CTS Cadillac. I'm just coming up with a cool car name.
Mhm.
And I that's a brand. I get into my Cadillac. I turn on my radio station. I turn on Radio 1, Foxy, 103, 104, 107.1. Before going to work, I stop at what? Starbucks, the ultimate brand,
Mhm.
the brand that has its own language, the brand that was bold enough to put a Starbucks within blocks of each other.
Mhm.
I mean, insanity over coffee, really? I mean, and then ask you $4 or $5 for that coffee, and you gladly pay up. because you start talking to the barista and all this language code that blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that is what you call a strong brand. Okay, I'm sure that Starbucks didn't start off that way, and I don't know the history of it, but now I'm going to have to go look it up, how they started up and how they evolved.
Mm-hmm.
There have even been stores like I dare say one thing that's happening now, guys, is that brands are changing in terms of the big malls that most of us know and love. Millennials don't dig malls so much. Everybody's doing stuff online.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So they've got now little spots. There's a spot at Nordstrom near my favorite sparking spot at Nordstrom, by the way, that says reserved for online pickup. And you're seeing more and more of the big stores doing that now, even within the store, because people are ordering online and they're not shopping the way they used to.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay, so what happens to the big Macy's besides closing several Macy's stores down across the country and really obliterating certain malls because you don't have the big anchor stores? Many Sears stores are closing. They have to, either they're going to die or they're going to have to evolve and change, and they have to be doing that stuff quickly because people have changed.
That's right.
You know, so yeah, brands change. Your brand can change. You may decide, you know, one of the big things that's happening in the journalism community is that so many newspapers are folding. So what happens to all of these shoe leather journalists out here? Either they adapt or die. Either they start making their own creations
Mm-hmm.
in terms of publications and whatnot, or go into business or whatever, or they don't get to do what they love anymore. You have to evolve and change, you know.
Evolve and change. I think
Evolve and change.
everybody, can you please? I need you to hashtag evolve and change, and tag on Pamela Purifoy. Evolve and change. I think that is absolutely important, and all of us are evolving and changing.
That's right.
Even as you're listening to this message that's getting into your mind, that's getting into your body and your soul, you are evolving and changing as we speak.
That's right. Amen. Amen. Any other questions?
All right, yeah, I can't believe it's 9:59 already. Boy, oh boy. Yes. Good gracious. I mean, I could just talk to you forever. Okay. Okay, evolving and changing. Okay. What is your hook? What makes you unique? Absolutely. They say God made us perfect. People always fake it until you make it. But all right. Don't be fake, Pamela said. Don't be fake. Do you, boo? All right. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm gonna wait because I know you guys are a couple of more minutes, behind us, and so I'm gonna wait. If you have any questions, Tani said $5.67 a hit a day, hitting pockets. Boom, talking about that Starbucks. Mm-hmm. Jean Garner said sharper and more focused. Erica Hicks said, "Oh, that's good. Leaders create leaders." Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. I love that.
Absolutely. And she said, laser sharp focus. We got to get laser sharp focus about our business.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Tish Bell just said, "Wow, I agree, Tish Bell. This information here. It has been good for the mind, body, and soul, and for our brands. I mean, I'm sure we're all going to be checking our image, our products, our slogans, our logo,
please, yes,
our quality of work,
right.
Making sure that you're being your most authentic self, so you can identify with your tribe."
Very good.
And that is so important. I just received that. Let me see. Study your craft. That's what Tamika said. Um, oh, good gracious. Now, Jean Garner said, when you're running with the big girls, you have to have your stuff tight, I guess. Post and go. I know that's right. That's right, Jean.
That fierce factor lady. She's two snaps to Jean.
Yes, honey. She said Starbucks has its own culture.
It's on
Tamika said,
language.
yeah, it's on language. Tamika with no excuse on said, good work. Thank you so much for your wisdom. And she has a lot of it. That's right, Sean White. Evolve and change. Danica said, evolve and change. Jean Gardner said, evolve and change. Absolutely. Jean said that this is a mini workshop, and then Danica just co-signed on it and said, indeed. So absolutely, this has been amazing. And I knew tonight would be. I knew that we had to have our pens and our papers because you are so full of knowledge, and you just told them why. I mean, you have your experience in itself speaks for itself. So I consider myself blessed to have you in my life.
I feel blessed to have you in mine, homegirl.
Homegirl.
Detroit girls.
Detroit girl. I know that's right. So if there's not any more questions, I just want to say, you guys, contact her. Make sure you're laser sharp in your business. Make sure you know what you want. I mean, because she gonna ask you, honey. Pam want to know. Let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Pam, honey. Let me tell you something. Pam want to know everything. She want to know everything. Okay. Don't try to hide nothing from her. She want to know everything about the relationship, where you live, what you're doing, where you work, what's on your mind, what's your phone number, where you work now, how many people. She want to know everything. Now, what's going on with you?
Ain't that bad.
She want to know. Because she want to make sure what she putting out is real.
Yeah, that's very true, because I can't be embarrassed. I know too many people, and let me tell you one thing that happened to me. I will never forget it. This happened at least 15 years ago. There was a woman that had a website that was all about events, and she did a contest, and she said, I want to get Denzel Washington here to the Triangle for a benefit or whatever. And she knew she had already saw how much money it would take to get him and what have you. And so she held a contest to see who could write the best as a publicist, and she would choose that person to do publicity work for her. Well, I will never ever do this again. So I wrote something that was slamming, okay, Tish?
Mm-hmm.
And I even had a quote from Denzel in it and whatever. Now, mind you, this was for a contest. It wasn't for publication. She liked what I wrote so well that she submitted it on her listserv. And in the heyday of the News and Observer, all of these highbrow journalists got that release. And they were calling and asking, well, when is Denzel coming here? Because I had written it in such a way that you would think he was coming, but I was trying to win a contest. It wasn't for submission. It was all fake that I had written this stuff. It was to win a contest.
Right.
It was the grace of God that I had a good reputation, that one of my girlfriends there at the NNO explained to this one particular reporter what the deal was. And she said, Pam, don't you ever do that again. And I wouldn't. But I'm just saying, and that's the one thing that I've learned. Like, if I just write something for somebody, I make sure they accredit it to me, because people will steal stuff or whatever. In that case, this case, I wish he hadn't. But I didn't know that, but by my fault too, I didn't write anything, sign off any agreement that she wouldn't use it. I just figured she would have better sense to send off something that's not true. Okay. So I say all that to say, You got that. That's a good thing about being authentic, and don't be putting no lies out there. You got to know what you're putting out there. Okay, you do.
Mm.
So,
Cause they
I've
show
had
they
so
show to
many.
tell it.
They'll
They,
tell it. Yeah. And that's a true story that really happened to me. It created a big messy buzz. And that was before social media. Thank God.
you
Thank
said,
God.
thank
Thank you.
God.
Thank you, Jesus. It was before social media.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been amazing. Like I said, this whole month has been amazing. Every speaker has been amazing. And so I thank you for your expertise and your knowledge and being willing to share with us. You spoke life to our health and wealth, honey. This was health and wealth. This year was health and wealth of your business and your mind and your body and your soul and your spirit. I mean, everything that you said can be added to health and wealth. And so I love how each speaker has been able to come authentically from their place of business or their place of wholeness, their place of speaking and tie it in into this month to make us all better. And I can't wait. Y'all better get ready for April with this speak life to your relationships.
Uh-oh.
This speak life to your relationships ain't gonna be no joke, honey.
I
With these,
bet not.
it's gonna be divorced people talking, married people talking, single folks talking, all kind. Now, hmm,
People gonna be finding each other. I got a feeling.
good gracious.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. All right, speak life. All right. So I'm excited about what God is doing. I know that's right. Good gracious. So this year is just an amazing year.
Yes,
I
it
call it
is.
Sweet 16. Sweet
Yes.
16. And every other month, if you notice, it's 16 speakers starting in February, 16 speakers in April, 16 speakers. I just want you, it's Sweet 16. Sweet
All right.
16. Sweet 16. And it's going to be something amazing every other month for each of the Speak Life speakers, people that are purpose professionals, to get their message out, to build their tribe. I truly believe that God sent me here to spread the good news and to let you know that you can do it. You are amazing. You have
Amen.
greatness inside of you. So therefore, you have no choice but to be what? Great.
That's
Right?
right.
So
I receive that in the name of Jesus.
yes,
I
yes. Oh,
receive it.
you are great. No doubt.
I
No doubt.
receive it.
No doubt. So I'm excited and thank you so much, Pam. I love you so much and
I
thank
love
you.
you too.
I'm gonna shout y'all out. Thank you, Erica. I'm seeing. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Tani. Thank you, Sean.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Tamika.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tay Tay. Taya. Thank you, Tish. I just want to thank you all. Thank you, Oliver. You know, for joining us and all of those that I have not mentioned. Get into the group Purpose Professionals so we can have everybody together and we can just build one another. That's what it's about. Building
right.
one another. Okay. Um, just know if God is for you, who can be against you?
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
All right. Y'all be blessed. We love you. And we'll see you on tomorrow. And I do believe, like I said, tomorrow is going to be Ashley Smith. And we may have to start at 10. But everybody keep Reggie in your prayers. He's under the weather. But he will be on next week. He's going to take Ashley Day, but keep him in your prayers, you guys. Y'all be blessed. My name is Letitia Nicole, and I speak life so that we all may have life more abundantly. You know why I did that? You know why I did that?
Yep, because I said it. I said you do that. I said that's what she does.
Yes, yes. All right. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.